All right,
I'm like, where the O
I'm going to
is?
call to order the village regular meeting, Village Council. This is Tuesday, November 11th, 2025 at 7:01 PM. I do want to acknowledge that it is Veterans Day and thank all public, past and present service people for their service. So thank you for that. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please? Here?
Ross,
Here.
Harm, here. Nicosia,
Here.
Rock.
Here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion by Ross, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion?
Yeah, I believe 5, with the DDA presentation, the executive director, Kimberly Smith, was added.
Yep.
From the public.
Any other comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nay? Motion carries. Moving on to item 5, the presentation by our DDA Executive Director.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I appreciate your time. I didn't want to have it up too early, so it'll just be a moment. But this is part of our standard federal requirements of reporting. We report out twice a year to talk to constituents around what we are doing, what we have done, how we're spending the TIP money. So this is just a quick overview of what we've been working on and prioritized in 2025 and where we're landing on that. I apologize. This is not my computer.
She's ready. I don't know. I don't remember it ever being on.
Oh, right.
It's a long password.
I know, it's.
Caps lock is on.
Oh.
Through 140.
Let's try this one more time. I promise, the presentation is better. Okay.
This password is dominating our TIF money.
She's secure.
We're not watching you type it, I swear.
Except that she's logging on to someone else's account.
Right? I'm Jesus Christ.
It's a federal offense, it's a governmental computer. Okay. So again, just to clarify, this is a federal requirement. It's not a requirement to present at a council meeting, but we would like to share and make sure that we're being transparent from a DDA standpoint. So the first couple slides are just reviewing what the mission, vision, and transformation statement is. These were created in 2024. On the left is kind of the short version, and on the right is the longer version. This is something that we as a DDA board will look into annually, and that's something that we'll be doing in November, December, and probably January within our DDA board, just to make sure that this still is applicable and how we want to continue to focus our efforts. This here is the vision. So I'll give you a moment to read this. And this is also on our website. If you feel like you don't have enough time to really absorb it. And then the transformation strategy, this was something that was kicked off. I mean, the mission and vision were the pretty standard ideas. The transformation strategy was something that was kicked off at the Oakland County level in early 2024. So this was something that was submitted at that time. This was created and submitted prior to our strategic planning session that we did in July of 2024. So this is definitely something that if we see some changes, I would anticipate this is where we would see it. So 2025, the priorities that were determined by the board were organizational sustainability, infrastructure, which included walkability, kind of our capital improvement projects to help support that walkability focus, and then place-based experiences, business development, and then integrating history into community culture. what my biggest priorities, so all of these were priorities, but the two biggest ones, in my opinion, walking into 2025 were number one, the organizational sustainability. Obviously I was new in my role, and then my replacement was also new to the organization. So there was a lot of training and development that happened for both of us in the early portion of the year, getting up to speed on our new roles. Also really looking at our events and taking a look at what made sense. I know there's been a lot of conversation around what does the DDA do, and the first thing that most people think of when they see DDA or hear DDA is events. And what I really wanted to try and do is expand that so that when people hear DDA, they can think of or see additional pieces that don't include just events. And then, yes. So there's a lot of information on here. I'm happy to share this presentation after the fact. The things that I would like to talk about this evening is just looking at how we took those priorities and implemented those thus far this year. We still do have another 2 full months. But the capital improvement projects, both are for the most part complete at this time. We do have a couple small pieces on the sidewalk project that needs to be corrected now, and then we have some work to be done in the spring once the weather breaks. But the gazebo is finished, it looks great. We have a second phase that we're going to look at in the spring to potentially add some additional features to the structure. But those are 2 very large projects that took place this year. If we look at business development, so one of the things, I'm going to skip ahead just very quickly about an event comparison. Excuse me, so in 2024, we had 10 Stronger Together events, and we pared that down to 5 in 2025. And what we decided to do as a partnership with Lake Orion is, instead of focusing on all of these different events that we were planning, we wanted to really also take a look at business development. So we decided to move forward with some training and development opportunities for our business owners, which included marketing, AI, and small business tax. We attempted to also host a grant session for our business owners, but unfortunately, because it was being hosted by Oakland County, there are certain thresholds in which they require having attendance, and we did not meet those. So that was canceled twice. But we do feel that that is a very important topic, and we would like to try and pursue that again in 2026. If we take a look at the events underneath the Stronger Together, what I would like to highlight is that the Cornhole League has become outsourced, so to speak. So we had 2 gentlemen running that event, so we were not required to be at the event. We were not required to have the constant communication with participants. It was something that we were able to outsource. Similar to line dancing as well. The Wind Down Wednesdays was completely self-managed this year, as was the Classic Car Show. So while we did have our hands in that in 2024, we had a finger or 2 in it in 2025. So if we're taking a look at a comparison of events, we really have taken a step back from that being our primary focus of what the DDA does. And then filling that gap again is back to this page around the business development, the organizational sustainability, and another area that we really focused on this year was our volunteer programs. So we have a champion for our volunteer program that was instrumental in helping us organize, communicate, and recruit volunteers. We hosted our first volunteer appreciation event last month, which was very positive and well received. We had 2 awards for our volunteers that really went above and beyond over the course of the year and were able to help us. So that was wonderful. I think from an organizational sustainability standpoint, we really defined some processes and procedures to make our office run smoothly. We identified different champions, one which was the volunteer program, but we also did have other champions. So we had a beautification champion within our organization that just talked to him yesterday, talking about cutting down some of the foliage, the fall foliage, within the planter boxes downtown. And then we have champions for some events that again mentioned over the summer. Yeah, so where things are a little bit more organized, we have more metrics, we're keeping data, we're collecting data, and we're presenting that to our board after our events so that we can have year-over-year comparisons as well when it comes to, are the events worthwhile? Are we getting a return on our investment? What is the feedback from the business owners? What is the feedback from the community? So that's the contents of my presentation. I don't know if you have any questions.
Any questions from council?
Thank you very much for all the work that you and your team do. It's been absolutely wonderful to see all of the events that you guys put together and just how much it brings the community together. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Which reminds me, just seeing your silent piece over there. It got cut out due to size, but the other piece, one of the other priorities was embedding history more within our community culture. And the ad hoc committee for Pullman history was kicked off this year. So there's a lot of activities at these two ladies at the end. I'm sure you're all very aware, but that they are working very diligently to have a lot of events to incorporate that. So the back end work is happening in 2025, and then we'll see the efforts in 2026. So thank you.
It'll be fabulous.
Thank you. Excellent work. I appreciate it.
What do you need from us this year to focus on? I guess you can get back to us on that, but can you start thinking about that and come back to however we can support you guys?
Absolutely, and I appreciate that question. I think the next 2 months will be really the opportunity for my work to focus on that and really help. I'll have my recommendations, but we can as a team decide how we want to move forward in 2026, the top 1 to 3 priorities. We have our strategic plan, we have our strategic action plan. Does that still make sense? So once we get that solidified, I can absolutely share that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, we will move to our public hearings. And I believe are there 2 because the agenda says 1. But are there 2?
So,
Okay. So first we'll,
open each one.
okay. So these are, the public hearings this evening are in regard to the Community Development Block Grant funding, CDBG. And so that is a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development program that provides funds annually to certain jurisdictions. And so we receive those funds as the Village of Oxford each year, and council needs to consider how to allocate those funds. So we have the first public hearing is for the specific public service project funding. And for a little background before we open the hearing, Love Inc. and Fish Food Bank are local charitable service organizations that the village has been rotating between for this funding. Fish was awarded the funding last year. Love Inc. has again shown interest in receiving those funds. And then we also received a letter from Haven. So I will move to open the hearing at 7:14.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nay? Okay, the motion passes and the hearing is open. So if anyone would like to approach the podium to speak to the local needs and past program benefits, please feel free to do so.
You ladies gonna go? Oh. I have a volunteer and pastor appreciation function today. But again, my name is Patricia Shapira. For those of you who don't know me, I've been here a few times before. I'm the executive director of Love and Reno Christ of North Oakland County. I guess I wanted to start off just for a little bit more of a formal presentation. Normally I'm just off the cuff, so I've practiced a little bit here. So we are a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting our community's most vulnerable residents through a wide range of services, including eviction prevention, utility shut-off assistance, clothing and household goods distribution, gift cards, community meals, one-on-one mentoring, counseling, and resource connection. We strive to meet immediate needs while guiding individuals toward long-term self-sufficiency. We believe that strong community partnerships are the key to amplifying our impact By working together, we can reach more individuals and families who are in need of support and hope. Founded in 2007, Loving, or Love in the Name of Christ, was born out of a vision to create a compassionate community where no one goes without life's basic necessities. Since then, we have served over 12,000 neighbors, providing seasonal clothing, essential household items, food, rent and utility assistance, and access to resources that promote empowerment and independence. In this last year, we have helped village residents with almost $5,000 worth of assistance. We're very proud to quantify that. Specifically, it's been food, a lot of rent, utilities, things as simple as diapers, gas cards, vacuum cleaners, auto parts, batteries, and such. So we're really thankful for the past support we've had with the CDBG funding, and it's nice to see when it goes for that sort of specific stuff. We had a wonderful speaker at our event today, and it was all about, he was moved from the village and moved into Lake Orion into Heritage Place. But we've been meeting with him over the past few months, and one of the things that we were able to share with him was it's important to be able to save some of your own money so that when you have things come up, you're not, we're happy to help, but we'd like to show that sustainability, you know, so he can learn on his own. We shared how he had a car repair and he was saving up. We helped him get into his new place, and he's been saving up and saving up. He wanted to buy a new car. He couldn't. He had to make a repair, but he had saved enough of his own money through our help with the budgeting class, and I really felt good about not having to ask anybody for money. So we love those sorts of relationships that we have with folks, because that's what we're striving to do. Because we can give them a little bit of a Band-Aid, but we want them to learn how to sustain themselves. So we're really excited about being able to do that. So when folks come into our office, our help, we invite them to a 1-hour intake appointment where we can carefully assess the legitimacy of their needs. We also require financial participation from them, because we want to see if we give them something this month, what is going to be the plan for next month. Like, we don't want you to just find a quarter in the couch. There needs to be a plan. We need to know what we need to do together. We help foster accountability and sustainability, and our goal is not to just alleviate poverty-related burdens, but to educate and equip our neighbors with the tools that they need to thrive. The work we do provides more than just relief. It builds community. We've seen firsthand how a helping hand can transform lives. At Love in the Name of Christ, we believe in the power of relationships, dignity, and human connection, and we remain deeply committed to continuing this mission with compassion and integrity. Any questions? That's a little bit more polished than last year.
That's great. Thank you.
So how, questions? So how does this, I know that the township has awarded the organization, I believe, $15,000
Yep.
this year.
For township residents only.
But,
I mean,
so
we're all township residents.
technically or no? Yeah,
So what I understand is it has to be in the village of Oxford, so I see that there's a delineation between the village and the township.
Village residents are township residents as well.
Oh, okay. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
no, I was.
Sorry, I'm not trying to, yeah.
I actually literally thought that there was a distinction, so we were looking in specific, because I had thought, we had been told that, residents who have like a 3-digit address were in the village only. And I didn't realize that they were village and township. So thank you for pointing that out. I did not know. Did anyone else know that?
I did not know, but so.
When I get my tax bill.
So you live downtown in the village?
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's, I guess there's a,
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we get to pay all of it, so that's fine. But so, is there a different use or an idea of the different use of the funds from what the township has sent to where you would want the village CDB to go?
you know what? Nope.
Okay, so just the one big pot for all of
I
us,
really-
yep.
Yeah, and I really thought that it was an individual pot just for the village and
I think township money can be used for anybody else in the village, but village money can only be used
Yeah,
for
outside,
for
correct.
people in the village.
Right,
So-
so the money we've gotten from the CDBG has stayed exactly like if they were in a specific area radius according to that map, that's where that money has stayed.
Okay, So, good. I just want to, believe me, I'm with you. I want to double check. So, thank you.
Anything else from council? Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
Tricia,
you.
I appreciate that. Anyone else like to speak under this public hearing? Seeing no one moving to the podium, I'll move to close the public hearing at 7:21. Cook, Ross, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nay? Motion carries. First hearing is closed. We do have a second hearing, and that is to consider or hear public comment and community input on the reprogramming request. And so this specifically is for removal of asbestos and architectural barriers. And that is, looks like project year 2024. Maybe the amount doesn't necessarily matter, but it's $7,072
Yeah.
for 2 years. Okay.
20 amount of $2,305.20 and the 2024.
Four amount for 7,000. Okay.
Removal of architectural barriers.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so it would be going from the removal of asbestos to the architectural barriers. Got it. Okay, I'll move to open the hearing at 7:22.
Support.
Okay, motion by Cook, seconded by Kemp. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the second public hearing is open. If anyone would like to provide comments on that reprogramming request, please approach the podium. Okay, seeing no one moving towards the podium, I'll then move to close the public hearing at 7:23.
Support.
Cook, Nicosia, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. That hearing is closed. Okay, next is our general call to the public. So anyone who would like to let council know of anything that may be on your mind, please feel free to step up to the podium. We will have a second opportunity for public comment later on in the agenda. Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, we'll close that public comment period. Move on to item 8, our consent agenda. Item A, receive and file items.
I'll make a motion to receive and file agenda items 8A, 1 and 2, correspondence, letters and communications, and department reports.
A second.
Okay, motion made by Ross, seconded by Knock. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nay? Motion carries. And then looking for a motion for, you're good.
Stop halfway through. All right, I'll make a motion
Maybe.
for
You only like the first half, huh?
receive and file agenda items. Agenda items 8B, 1, 2, and 3, and the bills in the amount of $503,177,000.66.
Support.
$503,177.66. Okay. Nope. Okay, motion made.
Close.
Motion made by Ross, seconded by Nicosia. A roll call vote, please.
Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion carries. Those are approved. Thank you. Next, moving on to item 9, unfinished old business, the Moyers and Park Street project updates. Mr. Madore?
Yes, and I thought it'd be a good idea to put some of it in writing. I think I emailed it you all yesterday afternoon. Hopefully the weather picks up later this week, and all the paving is everything's done on Park Street. And Hutch Paving did, to their credit, after we all got to negotiating and doing what, did come through and knock that out right away a few weeks ago. The paving and it appears to be much better and more what we planned initially. There's 2 small catch basins there, some concrete being poured. I think they were looking to do that tomorrow. Moyer Street, again, they've been plugging along, but just not as quickly as we hoped at first. And so now they're up against the weather. I believe the final grading was being done some yesterday and some today. I think the plan with the weather-wise gets warm enough that we're doing their paving like Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Restoration, of course, this time of year won't really be done. If they did any, it would be kind of useless. Be back in the spring for that regardless. But blacktop should be going down.
Great.
I'm hoping
Let's
that-
hope. We'll get warmer this week, so I hope so. Sounds nice. Any questions or comments from council on that update?
Yeah, I guess on that, are they like, so is, after they pave, are they kind of then gonna address the sides? as
Yeah,
well?
smooth them out, everything, just not seed them, stuff like that. And they may, again, the option would be if they put down the rollout blanket, stuff like that, it's really not gonna germinate stuff. If they did a hydro seeding, that might hold stuff in place over the winter and still might have a chance to germinate in spring. But that's up to them. I don't know if they'll even try the hydro seeding.
Yeah, it might make sense to have them hold off anyways, because
It's last
get
year.
a bunch of weeds.
Yeah, and those rollout mesh things become such a burden. So, either way, no matter what they did, they'll come back to spend the work to do in spring, and whether it's one for the restoration, final restoration. Yeah, they'll address the side, I believe, along the sidewalk, smooth everything out, so it's walkable, someone needs to walk there. It'd be much better to drive through that, that's pavement almost, than
Mm-hmm.
having to gravel.
Oh, yeah.
Something. Will you let the schools know there when it is reopened? I'm not sure if it's impacted bus routes or not with that street being closed, but.
It has, and I have communicated with the transportation drives,
Mhm.
while back too. The paving is pretty quick, but still it's disruptive on that day, right? We saw milling, just a little bit of milling they were doing
Yeah.
on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
On the intersection of Mechanic Street, they were there milling for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty big deal.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you. Any other further comment? Questions? No? Great. Thank you. Moving on to 10 new business, a Metro Act permit consideration for applicant Metro FiberNet LLC.
So yes, and I did get an updated map and application. I think it came over the weekend, Friday or maybe. This was one that we had planned to bring to you last month, but it just didn't quite have their ducks in a row. And so they pulled that application, gave us a new updated application. It's pretty standard boilerplate application as far as the Metro Act permit and application. Even though they've indicated the red for underground aerial wiring, and the blue, I'm sorry, the red for underground, the blue for aerial. And even in some cases where they want to do underground, we may have to have one do aerial just because of infrastructure if it's not a good location for that. So again, there's a race I was talking about. There's kind of a race right now to run fiber throughout everywhere in the country, right? So if you look on here on this map, the whole Octa Lake subdivision, including Lake's Edge Drive, all that, the east is on the map. Well, AT&T's just about, they've already had permits in place to do the same thing.
Right.
And that's going to be hopefully starting in that, at least on the subdivision out there soon.
If they're like boring underground to install it, do they coordinate utilities, or is it going to be like one fiber provider coming through and disrupting people, and then a couple months later another one? That's unfortunate.
It's the latter.
And that's
You're
funny,
making.
You know, and I was talking to Rudy just last week. It's too bad that the contractor that's doing all this work for AT&T couldn't just go and do this one for Metro at the same time.
Can we ask?
Well, again, they've applied for their permits and everything's, you know, they're working right away, they're a public utility right away. We can't tell them have to wait. You know? And again, it's a separate fiber company, it's a separate contractor.
Separate fiber lines. Like, yeah, it's AT&T's beat them to the jump. I mean, they're already, like you said. So,
Very turquoise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but they, you know, they're planning with the Metro Act permits. AT&T is a franchisee that we have, right, for our local franchise agreement for video providers.
So when we pulled this, we made them change the date on the application so that we would be acting on this within the 45 legal days to avoid the default issue. So everything is timely and now it's properly before you with the matter.
And is there any legal basis to say no, or this is basically notice and because of the law you?
You have a real strong reason.
Yeah, you'll hear about it if you say no. They have a lot of authority as long as they put forth a valid application.
Right.
Then is MetroNet kind of general? Where obviously you said like, well, AT&T is doing this. Is MetroNet
They're small.
represent other? Oh, so it's not like, oh, we're like background Verizon or something, or
No, they're their own entity.
Okay.
States, several other states. The gentleman I was talking with, he's out of the Carolinas.
A little bigger in other states. They're making a market into Michigan.
Do we have an idea when they're gonna do this? Okay.
I would assume probably not this spring.
Or never.
Oh, all right, okay.
You know, they get these, I'm not being clever about that, but I mean, a lot of times they have to get these in place, but sometimes they don't act on them for a while, or ever. But the guy came in and visited with us, so I mean, pretty squared away.
Any further discussion or questions from council?
All the dates on.
That's the old one. He didn't, I told him, I said, look, I almost pulled it last week again because he hadn't provided me the updated one. And I said, all that is different is the data. We can't bring this one to council because it looks like it's out of date and it'll be back too late. So over the weekend, and I think he did send to me, and he flew file out as well. It's dated November 9th,
Eight.
so he's looking more.
So we're acting within the 45 days required by law.
I did have one question.
Yep.
3.5 says once the applicant gets closer to starting construction, it can provide more specific information. Can we require them to provide more information? Because the questions are most likely going to come to us in terms of contractors, et cetera.
We can require their schedule, their general operations, their
Okay.
plans of operations. We can't dictate, you know,
Right.
but we can get more information on what does it mean to our citizens for this to happen.
It just seemed very loose, like it can provide more. And
Yeah.
It would be nice
We can
to
ask.
provide more.
We can get it.
Okay, thank you.
And we're gonna get a large amount of bonding in place for these, because as they're going through, and like the one in KTM's doing it all on acrylic stuff, they're going under everybody's driveway, they're boring, so there's a lot of, on certain areas that, to ensure the restoration is done, or any damage is there. It could be greater than that. And of course now, Edison is coming out and they're running some more because it's helped out with some too. We're just trying to do this.
When they're returning it to the state it was, are we talking about just driveways? Are we talking about grass? Are we talking about flowers?
Restoration,
Okay.
both. To light conditions prior to their, you know, they pull, you know, it's not very disruptive. This is one of those things that is double-edged. You love it once it's in and you want everyone in it. Getting it in is kind of a pain, so.
All the utilities are underground out in the acrylic stuff. And it's kind of shocking if you look at the maps. Normally in the village property and stuff, the right of way ends at the back of the sidewalk. Out there, it's like 10 foot into their yard. That they could be as far as 10 foot into their yard and come through.
People are not aware of that.
And you'll see the little flags, you know.
Yeah, all the markets, yes, our crew's been out here picking up the markets where the water bottles is.
And they make their reportings to Ms. Biggs, so in the future, when there's other issues, then Ms. Biggs knows exactly.
The good thing, again, about the AT&T one I'm talking about, not venture like that, but when I reached out to the board members back earlier this summer about this, they said, oh yes, we're aware of it, we're excited. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
They're anticipating and looking forward to it, at least some. Not everybody knows about it, I'm sure. It'll be a shock to some. People should look, start to work.
Right.
I'm hopeful that the board out there relays that information. I try to work with them, like with the paving project and stuff.
Do we know how many other people are getting boxes?
Well, they
These are-
only have a few. The handholds, it's like the flush model where there's like a handhold called, it's like
Okay.
a very bucket in the way. That's for the most part what they have.
they're on boxes like the other.
There's all kinds of boxes in that subdivision out there. If you look at the transformers, phone lines, cable lines, there's all kinds of pedestals and large transformers throughout the whole subdivision.
It's awesome that we're getting high-speed internet. I just don't like the fact that we have no say over, so, like, some of these unsightly things that are going on in our community. So I'm a fan, I'm also not a fan, but
That's why the Metro Act
We
came
know.
into existence, I think.
Yeah.
Because some communities were being, almost impossible to work with.
Not
and
fans.
dragging them on for a year, year and a half, and things like that. And these utility companies have these plans, and design, and engineering costs, all this stuff into it, and they're like, if it's never gonna happen, we're wasting our time. So the state stepped in years ago, but again, at least some framework that has to be followed, gives them the rights to work within those utility areas.
So everything's in order with this permit application?
Now it is.
Now it is. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the permit application for Metro FiberNet LLC as presented for the Village of Oxford.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cook, seconded by, is that Ross?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Is a voice vote okay on that?
Yeah, there's no,
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nay?
Nay.
Nope, one nay. Nicosia. Motion carries. 10B is the proposed resolution 2508 for the Brownfield TIF plan, Meadows of Oxford at 147 South Washington Street, Oxford. And Mr. Madore, do you want to give or maybe some
Yeah,
background?
this is something that came, it was gonna come to us last month, and that's when I was looking at the Brownfield plan. And then there was a little concern on my end, I'm not sure that the DDA fully, had all the details of that, and a different number that came up that we talked about. Again, I knew then where it was coming from county adding on the Brownfield redevelopment authority costs. The county adding on, the developers haven't changed their plan or their amounts that they ever asked for. But we did go back to the DDA last month, and our group are here today. A couple of them were gone, they had tickets to the Lions game that Monday night, but everyone kind of understood priorities, right?
it's a decent excuse.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So everyone on the DDA, I think, really does understand that the developer's not changed. This is the back end cost that the county's imposing because they're doing all the back end work, front end work actually, and then collecting over time and doing the taxes for something like that. The only way that could have been avoided is perhaps if all of that, the authority and all that, which we aren't equipped to do, they do it. So those county costs are really the only thing that's changed from the initial proposal in front of us. And like I said, one thing I learned, because I was mistaken initially when I was told that the DDA is going to give up their TIF capture, and I thought that meant their current one. I was even using that argument to make the case for it with Rob
Yeah.
Jones. The fact that they get to keep their current TIF capture, they're only giving up most stuff.
Just the amount going
So,
forward.
even made it all the better, and I think that became apparent to all the DDA members as well. And then again, it's because it's in the DDA, you know, these are potential 30, 40, 50, 60 residents that will be living in the DDA.
Right.
As these get built out. Again, the DDA spends a lot of time, energy, and effort to bring people into town, to downtown, and what better to bring them into town than build homes for them.
Any questions, Ross?
I don't have a question. I think it would be helpful, Joe, maybe if you could maybe talk with the leader. I think some of the responses that you had pulled together earlier this week were helpful because I think there's a lot of misinformation within the community
Yeah.
about what's going on. And so I think just having some clarification about what that means, that this isn't tax money that we're just subsidizing, you know, private
Builder and-
development. But basically, in a nutshell, we get what, like $1,000 a year just for this ease of round numbers. In 22 years, while it seems like a long time, we'll continue to get that 1,000 plus whatever it increases over 22 years, just base flat. And then approximately $140,000 when that's over. This is
Year after year.
year after year. So in 22 years, we'd end up with $22,000. And then that first year already, you know, 1,000% increase in, you know, tax revenue coming back. And I'm not as eloquent speaking on this, but I saw a lot of misinformation within the community about what this is, what a brownfield is. And I think just,
So you, first of all, you spoke very well on it.
You're good at this.
Thanks.
Explaining TIF it can often be difficult. I know you've been through this. Everybody who has to explain it, what you need to understand is there's no additional taxation and there's no forgiveness of taxation. It's just a matter of where the tax dollars are going. When we tax, your tax dollars go in all kinds of different directions. Under TIF, some of those directions stop and they stay here and they become part of the capture. And really what you're looking at is there's a value of taxation on this property right now. This development will increase the value of that taxation, and that's the incremental growth in taxation. That'll be subject to the capture for the time period, the 15 years, and thereafter, it will revert back to the DDA for their capture, which will be a very larger amount. But I think the misnomer you point out is correct. The folks think, well, you're giving away the tax dollars. No. You're taxing people more in order to do this. No. You're taxing people less in order to do this. No. It's the same bubble of taxes, only being captured from going in different directions outside of your community and being held within your community. It's a difficult concept.
They're still being taxed.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're still being paid, just
Yes.
like normal, they're just being redirected.
It's just a redirection of where those dollars go. And quite frankly, it's redirected toward you.
I think there was some with that brownfield too, which obviously we don't have control over where the state decided to
So-
put brownfield terminology.
Well, so,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you agree with me, Council. Yeah, I don't know if the state was wise in lumping this program underneath the title of brownfield.
It was simple, I think.
I think they did it because they didn't want to have to redo all the procedure, so they stuck it in. It probably doesn't belong there. This, to me, and I'm a fan of this program, because I think this bridges a gap of housing development in the state that we're kind of struggling with, that first-time home buyer in that range where, it's just a difficult pricing. And quite frankly, developers who are embarking on this, and it's been a slow uptake, are putting their dollars sort of at risk to provide this kind of housing, knowing, that they're building a much better house that should cost more, and they're building at less to gain that capture, to make them whole. And I think it's a great program for the state of Michigan. I'm just not sure the legislature put it in the right spot. It doesn't belong titled
It
brownfield.
could have been a copy paste.
The brownfield,
Instead
the
it was
brownfield was for the redevelopment of contaminated property using these same concepts to encourage developers to take on the challenge of contaminated property, capture the taxes, to pay back for the contamination removals. So it maybe wasn't the best spot the legislature chose to put it.
To your point, I will share the questions and responses that I gave with Joseph here, the leader, just so, keep it anonymous, of course, but
Yeah.
some of those questions are common questions, and I try to explain my take on it.
Yeah, but the folks are here, so they can answer your questions as well.
One of the questions that I had gotten was, what is affordable housing?
That's not what this is for.
That-
So the state looks at.
So wait, but I'm sure there's not the whole plan, but what is affordable housing? What is the target audience, or what does that look like?
The target audience is like 80 to 120% of household income, or the 100 to 120%. Maybe it's like 80 to
The statute lays it out.
80 to
Well,
120%
I know, but for
in household income. So
That's in statute, the target.
There's some guidance on it. You guys want to speak to this?
I'm happy. to
Could you?
listen.
Yeah.
that would be very
Thank you.
helpful.
Yeah, do you mind coming up to the podium? Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. We're happy to answer any questions. So Jared Balco, born in Norcross. So this program, you're spot on with in terms of placement in the brownfield. I'll provide some background. I apologize, but I think it helps answer some of these questions. Michigan was tasked by the governor with advancing housing, all sorts, to address that need. So could it have been its own act? Yes, but the brownfield is well known. Most communities have brownfield authorities set up. it was simply using that infrastructure to implement the housing TIF program. It causes confusion, so it's certainly not the first time. The targets for this are 120% or below very median income. There are other programs that Michigan has, including the LIHTC program, that targets lower AMI rankings. And those are tax credit programs where there's significant federal dollars brought in to kind of support those. The kind of goal of this is to kind of hit that missing middle where it's not luxury housing, where typically people aren't price conscious. And there are people who, make enough that they aren't qualified for the LIHTC housing. So it's really to target that missing middle where people, may make a fair wage, but they're unable to qualify for lower and they can't afford the higher. There are provisions in the Act that support 100% market rate housing too. Again, getting back to that goal of advancing housing across the spectrum to address needs at all price points. So the program isn't just for affordable housing. It is to help target that missing middle component with a different program because there wasn't anything available. But also to just target housing in general. That's why they encourage developers to look at, the mix of things, where there may be some subject to the program and others not, but bringing housing to the community.
I have a question. What happens if the development's abandoned before completion? What happens with the TIF?
So TIF is a self-fulfilling incentive. The developer needs to complete the project,
Okay.
submit for eligible activities, and they need to pay a tax bill.
Okay.
So, heaven forbid, if a lender came in and took it back, somebody's going to be paying property taxes. So it's, I call it self-fulfilling because you have to build it. And with any debt and equity scenario, you put your equity in first, and once that is spent, only then can you draw upon the bank debt and you control those disbursements. So they have a hand in ensuring that the project gets completed.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Again, I don't have another question, I just have another comment. From the DDA standpoint, with our Economic Vitality Committee, one of the things that we're charged with is obviously what businesses, what property owners are here within the community. The DDA itself is abandoned space where we can do that, and then obviously the villages too. And so we've looked at different properties within both of those. The overlap is fairly small, and this is kind of one of those few spaces where there's even room for residential development. It's been something that was identified in the last 5 years, and so to see something come forward, I know the DDA has been very mindful about where, what, and working together to come to a nice resolution at the end without just development for the sake of development. I think that this was really thought through from all ends.
Very well said.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not on this moment. No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor, you've earned your pay.
Gold star.
So the DDA board does need to approve this on Monday still?
I think they're good.
They're good? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
This is the final step, basically.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Joe for pointing this out
Mhm.
and having the kindness, I guess, to come to the board, our DDA board, before bringing it to council last month. So that was very much appreciated.
Yeah, that's great.
I just want to make sure that
Everybody-
they understood everything because of the changes that, on the county part that came and showed up. I wasn't sure if that was clear. I didn't know right through this came adopted it. I
Right.
didn't have been fully aware of it, so.
Was the vote unanimous at the DDA?
I believe so. All 5
It
people
was,
there?
there was, we barely had a quorum.
Okay.
There.
I think it was more just understanding, because I think there's some dates. It appeared as though it was an extended timeframe,
Yes.
but in reality it was not.
Yes.
And so it was just
Right.
explaining the extra years and what that was for, and that probably did not necessarily impact his day.
And I think the developer saw the reason for the pause. I think there was no kickback on the pause. It did look different.
It was just adding the time for the
Yeah.
counties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
expense
You
and
know the
oversight.
county.
Well, I do.
She works for the county.
You guys have a resolution in front of you.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25 -08, the Brownfield TIF plan for Meadows of Oxford as presented.
A second?
Okay, motion by Ross, seconded by Knock. Any further discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote.
It just says eight yeas and nays on the resolution. Do you want to roll
Let's
call?
do a roll call for a resolution.
Okay.
Ross,
Yes.
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Yes.
Mark, sorry.
Okay. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
All right, that motion passes. That resolution is adopted. Thank you for attending this evening. I really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Looking forward to the development.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Next up is proposed resolution 2511 for earned sick time act policy.
This is something our clerk delved into and put together for you guys.
You did a good job.
For that.
I have a question. Why do we consider earned sick time, leave act time to have monetary value? I don't know if a lot of employers do that. It's kind of you don't get to cash it out when you leave. It's for when you're sick, when you're here.
Our auditors sometimes will look at it as if you have sick time in the bank, they'll say, well, how much do you owe the person? They don't, we do a final thing.
That's in your normal HR policy that you always treat all sick time as monetary value.
The auditors do. I don't know if it's in our policy per se, but they look at it as like a debt on the books almost.
Yeah. It's a benefit to the employees. If people are sick, I want them to use it and not hold on to it for the money. So that's where I was.
Yeah, but it gets logged as that.
It does. Okay. Because at the county, we do not have any monetary value to any personal leave or sick time leave.
Oh,
I
I
was
don't
curious.
know. That might be true, but I bet you in your audit,
They
it's
still-
accounted.
Okay. But you want to pay it out as benefit, like a monetary benefit. That's how this is how this was written.
You know what the one really have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's consistent with what you're already doing
Yeah,
with
Robbie, this is.
personal leave and sick time.
Even our regular non-union employees, the staff, Mickey and Kim, they
Yeah.
have the option, they don't just now. This year, she was really full and she had 1 hour left at the end of the year, she was hoping to use it, but
Yeah.
she didn't use it. But, for the most part, we just want to make sure we have a policy in place for those who aren't still covered under the CDAs are still in place. Next spring, they weren't even affected yet, right?
Is this adding more personal leave time though, or you're just saying the personal leave time they already give you is earned sick time?
Yes, yes, but it's already there. Well, we already
You're not
acknowledged
adding
it
anymore.
basically, yeah. We're not adding.
You're not adding any
We're not adding or taking
compensatory
away.
benefit.
And we're not taking anything away.
The ESTA law allows for them to combine or, and kind of take care of, just really accumulate and account for it in any way that they see fit. So really the only stipulation is the sick time isn't necessarily just bank time to use as you please. It must be used for very, specific purposes. So it isn't like a flex day or anything like that.
It's not a slush fund.
That's a good question though.
To your point though, we had a policy in place, like for instance, for us and for our full-time staff.
Mhm.
They had that benefit. Our part-time, our beach help was, they did not. Our part-time officers didn't have something. So now they do. So
Right.
now this is kind of in place to cover them.
So they know how it works.
Right.
The other employees who already had something were covered and what we're given was better than this,
Yeah.
but we have to acknowledge it. But those who weren't covered before now are kind of.
And then a lot of communities were struggling with how to treat paid on call, all these
Oh,
different
yeah.
categories. That's always,
Yeah.
Well, we had,
I think you're remaining consistent.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I understand it quite a bit. I worked on it for the county when we had to implement it, but I was just curious, I guess more than anything, like, is this, so if someone wanted to go on vacation, you wouldn't let them use the personal time
You
for it?
cannot.
You have to be sick. So if you're really healthy, then you get paid more money. So that's my point.
And you can verify, you can seek to verify.
So, I think it would only apply to the beach help.
There's seasonal ones, they work so many hours, like 200 hours, whatever, before they're
You gotta
all.
see if it'll be done.
But I think what I was asking is, this says only, no one under 18 would be eligible.
Correct.
That's correct.
But
How many
that's who
people
works-
do we have that
That's the one that works for the BDO.
Okay.
Yep,
Code enforcement.
code enforcement, couple part-time officers, and I don't.
And they're under 18? I'm asking who's under 18.
Oh, under 18.
Okay, I didn't think, okay, I didn't think you get their jobs.
I don't know if we had any beach help, one we had one beach help this year was still high school, everyone else was post-high school.
Okay.
So everyone else was over 18.
Okay,
We
we're
had
not,
one.
they're not getting
that was
badges
under,
for.
so potentially, if they worked enough hours, they could accumulate something within the get some.
Well, we have Nicosia, I see, you're over 18, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause I think this like explicitly
It's a young
excluded anyone under 18.
Right, but we.
Yeah.
That was
You
my,
have to work 120 days to use that.
okay, all right, so the summer,
So, we have part-time officers, part-time DDA, part-time code enforcement.
But this was,
They
but
weren't-
the payout of, I guess the question is, the payout of the hours was the policy regardless before this came into place.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the only,
You have to be hesitant to change
oh yeah,
the expectation.
you
of
can make it
people.
rich, you can't take it back, yeah.
You know, yes, well said.
Just one last question. So I know this is semi-hypothetical, but would our summer beach help under 18 or anybody under 18 ever qualify for any of this anyway?
No,
Okay.
That's a-
I just didn't wanna.
No, nobody
explicitly-
under 18 is qualified for this.
Okay.
no, it's,
So we only had one last year that was under 18.
So if they were above 18, would they even get
Yes.
the 120 days?
so if a 17-year-old working the exact same beach position as an 18-year-old,
One qualifies, one doesn't, according to law.
Yes, you are onto it.
you,
So
but,
why
they're doing
wouldn't
the
we
exact
give a
same thing?
17-year-old?
It's not based on the test.
It's the law.
It's a law,
Yeah, it seems, what you're pointing out, it seems very unfair.
Okay, but 17-year-olds get sick.
you also don't get unemployment if you're under 18.
Don't change the law.
I might. I don't.
And they don't get sick as often.
That's not true.
But no, but you know, it's,
As long as they show up to
They're
work.
like a cesspool of
Sure.
As long as they show up to work.
but no, it's, you know, I mean,
It's a cutoff.
as a
It's a legal
CPA,
threshold.
this is a very, this is the standard policy that, you know, all employers have to apply. Really, like I said, the only question that I had was, you know, you're not required to pay out the sick time, but if that was a policy that was already in place ahead of time, I think that's reasonable.
But they still have to bank up, and only go over above a certain amount, which all of them, you know,
Correct.
And anyone who has sat down and read this law, I applaud you.
I read it so many
It
times.
is.
I've applied it to 200 clients, so
it is
it's
not a
lots
mas-
of fun.
It's not a masterpiece.
And they made amendments when they, right before it was finalized, again, they made other amendments to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they're still thinking of changing it again. I don't, no, I swear they're still thinking of changing it again.
again, it was already complicated enough with commission.
There's still a thought of revisiting it because they don't know if they have it right.
Is there anything dissuading us from going like above and beyond and like taking out the over the age of 18 and just saying part-time and seasonal employees employed by the village?
Can't.
Okay, I just want to be
Not under ESTA, I guess.
No.
okay. Thank you. That's
But this is our policy at the top of this
I'll have
resolution.
to look at our internal policy if it addresses those three, and I can't recall. It talks about part-time people have to be regularly scheduled
You
at
guys tend
16 hours a
to,
week.
tend to treat those people pretty well, right? In flexibility. So.
Part-timers are eligible for certain things, like holidays, for instance. They have to work, be regularly scheduled for at least 16 hours or to 20 hours a week. On a regular basis, like 20 hours a week, on a regular basis, 12 by, let's say, for a holiday.
Yeah.
There are certain things already in the policy that address part-timers, but I don't know if sick time was ever addressed for part-timers.
So this is just our policy and it's in accordance with the law and we're
Yes.
asking
We
for vote.
could go above, yeah, by including that one 17-year-old who does the exact same job as the 18-year-old.
Just we can't do it with this resolution.
Okay, all right.
The person could just tell us they're 18.
That would be a
Let's not do that. Just like, oh.
I've never known that people that age get fake IDs.
No. All right. Is there a motion on this resolution?
What you just said is true, that what, it's our policy embodying the law, but our policy is sticking to our current practices on the buyout. Because we already allow that, we didn't take that away.
Motion to approve policy for part-time and seasonal employees.
Second.
I think it needs to be a motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution for policy for part-time and seasonal employees.
I'm second.
You want me to do roll call?
Yes.
Resolution, sorry.
Kemp,
Yes.
Nicosia,
Yes.
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Motion carries. That resolution's adopted. Thank you. Next is the proposed resolution 2512 for CDBG reclassification of funds.
The funds we're going to move from the special proposal to the removal of architectural barriers.
Are we missing one for identifying the project funding, or is this only for reclassifying the funds?
These are both included into the same, if you look under.
Same resolution?
Yes,
Okay.
it references both reprogramming authorizations.
I see. Thank you.
Yep. The one resolution, but there are two different authorizations from the county regarding those two reprogrammings for both years. This is not having the public service fund,
Gotcha.
but it does deal with both funds that are being reclassified.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-12 reclassification of funds.
Support?
Motion made by Ross, seconded by Kemp. Any discussion? My only question is, so this does not address, okay. So this addresses the reclassification of the funds, but it does not address the public service, and we're not doing that tonight?
That's
Yes, that's next.
We just don't have a resolution like that up there. So this resolution does not address it.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at my agenda. The wrong, I was totally missing it. Okay, any further discussion on this one? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote?
Nicosia,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. That resolution is adopted. So now we have the award of public service funds.
Yes.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
if I may, we have the last couple of years alternated between Fish and Love Inc. And both are extremely worthy organizations. When I did come on council, we did alternate between the three, Love Inc., Fish, and Haven.
Yes.
So I would like to reintroduce Haven into this. Because they are also a worthy organization who supports domestic violence victims and sexual assault victims in our area. So I would like to reintroduce that to our mix.
And it looks like from the information we provided, there's a substantial number of individuals who were served from the Village of Oxford by Haven this, I assume this past year.
What is the total of the funds?
3,500.
I would like to make a motion to award our CDBG funds for this year to Haven.
Motion made by Kemp. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Knock. Any discussion?
I will just say, it's not that Haven is not a worthy cause. I feel with the way the world is right now and the talks that are happening within the village and I think food and basic needs, and not that this isn't basic needs, it does provide it, but I think my vote would go towards places that would be supporting meals at this point in time, especially it's still a tenuous time.
I understand that.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think, and no one's like pitting.
No,
yeah,
it's not, and I think this is not enough money to
Yeah.
to go anywhere. And it's not that I don't appreciate Haven by any means. It's just that's where my head is at.
I tend to agree with that, especially given all the benefit stuff that's going on right now. I think we do have an interesting number. It's 3,500. So, I mean, are we able to disperse those funds to more than one entity? So, for instance, 3 to perhaps Love Inc. and then 500 to Haven? Is that, or do they all have to go to?
They have a minimum of like 30%, and our 30% doesn't even meet 3,500, so their allowance is 3,500. I think it's like 11,000 is our take, so our 30 of that was like 3,300. So they stretch up and up to 3,500 for public service because that's the minimum. I don't know about you. They're allowed to slice that either.
You could tailor a motion to divide it if it's acceptable, if not all to your selection of it. And we could vet whether we can divide it. Your motion could say, I move that we divide it like this, but if that's not allowed, that the total amount go to whatever your motion is. And then we could look into it and see if it's.
Yeah, we would definitely find out and send that.
I tend to think it's not allowed, but I'd like to check that if you want to try to divide it.
And you know, while I do agree with, obviously with all the politics and, the government shutdown and the SNAP pause and all of those things, to a certain degree, people will not necessarily be made whole with it. But I do think that we have I think there's a lot of people that are aware of the situation and are definitely, during this giving season, are very aware of the food needs that we have, where I think that sometimes that makes it so other organizations are maybe not chosen first in where people want to be charitable. So that's where, at the idea that, if you do the math on it, $270 to be able to help, someone in need is not necessarily a lot. While it can buy quite a bit of food, I think that our community is very well aware of the food insecurity issues that are happening right now, but I also think that people are being very charitable towards those organizations in particular right now.
I agree. Any further discussion before I call the vote?
What was the motion?
So the motion is to award the 3,500 to Haven. Do a roll call vote? Okay. Yes.
Ross,
No.
Matt,
Yes.
Lucia,
No.
Ken,
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And the 3,500 will go to Haven this year. Thank you for bringing that up.
I mean, all were extremely worthy causes.
I know.
Of course.
I
And it's like, no one's, yeah, like, no, you're not, no. Not by any means.
You're picking among winners.
Yeah. Especially because they haven't been selected in a while,
Yep.
I think it's reasonable.
Excuse me.
We should probably look up for you anyways, whether,
I will find out for sure.
whether, because maybe you could have split it, or a third. Let us find that answer. And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My only hesitation is that they're giving us a little leeway to get to the minimum anyway.
we're way down there. We're way down.
Normally, I think you can split them, but because of our circumstances, I'm not sure.
Let's get the answer for next.
I've split them before in my community, and yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's up to $500 into.
Well, and just knowing that I think would help us for the future, because if we are rotating and talking to the 3 different nonprofits, would you like a smaller amount on a regular, consistent basis? Or do you want us to continue this rotation pattern?
Or divide it up.
Good,
Right,
it's a good,
that would be
good,
helpful.
question that we will definitely speak in.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, 10F is council member future compensation.
This is something that I brought up. You know, I just, you look around and I think, yeah, it's, you know, it was a little over $1 a day for a year, maybe. And it's a lot you guys have to do, a lot you have to learn. You're learning about these groups, you're learning about the budget, you're learning about come springtime, like the bargaining agreements. There's a lot you guys have to do, and I think it's like, I commend all of you for stepping up and doing it for basically nothing. And not that anyone would do it because of the money, if it's a $1,000 a year or something like that. But you're not home with your families tonight, you know, you might miss some other things, and I think it's better to relook it over because you guys are worth it and what you do. At the training, sometimes training comes your way. If you're on the planning commission, you need some extra training. If you're on the DDA, you go get to another meeting. It's just a lot to do. I think some more reasonable conversation is in order. And when I went to start going down this, A, there's the part from the charter. B, there's a spreadsheet that I got from the Oakland County Varsity Management Association. It is all over the place. I mean, you can see that they do it at Birmingham for $5 a meeting. So I think that there's more like, they just want to save revenue.
You know when this initial amount was approved?
I have no idea. I've been here 8 years next month, and it was
Well,
like that.
started with the charter.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably changed in decades.
That's what I'm assuming.
You know, communities are starting to, in all my other communities, they've changed this in the last 2 years to be a little more reasonable because some of them were way out of plan.
Right. Okay, so I apologize for interrupting.
It just helps if somebody's looking at considering doing it.
Would
in the
this
future.
require a charter amendment?
I don't know. It says in the charter that you can do it, you just can't benefit from it until the next term.
Right.
So if you were to adopt a change, like let's say you, it's 1,000 person. In 2 years, when somebody turns over to a new position, whether this current, they will be compensated perhaps differently than the ones that are still sitting at the old rate.
Yeah, well, there's a state law that says you can't lower the compensation to somebody who's been just elected during their term. I think you can raise it,
Yeah.
but you can't lower it.
But I think.
We can't vote you in and then say, by the way, we cut your pay.
Yeah.
But you also can't give yourself a raise.
That's the charter at this point, I think.
Yeah, we should check the charter to make sure we're not.
Yeah, this is out of the charter right here. The council shall not grant or authorize extra compensation to any village office elected or appointed to any employee, agent, contractor after the service has been rendered.
Well,
Nor shall the salary being elected, be appointed or appointed, be increased or decreased after his election during any fixed term of office. So the other part up here talks about yeah,
let me read it.
it talked about
It's not as clear.
you can't take on the new salary until the next term. of office.
Right. Right. Yeah, so I know none of us are up here because of the pay, but thinking ahead to people who may come after us, I guess
Conversations.
where the discussion should be is just those who may follow us and what is the purpose of paying more than we pay now? Is it to compensate people for their time? Is it to entice people to serve the public? Is it,
I mean,
what is it?
I know council members have had to pay a babysitter to be here, which is far exceeds the $15 that we get.
Mhm.
So I think at least bring it up closer to modern.
Because the other part I think to a lot of this is
Yeah.
there's also the numerous hours that have nothing to do with a meeting. That,
Absolutely, all the background and the learning and the.
but again, we do it because we want to do it. Our heart's in it, and not for the pay. But the amount of money I've spent on coffee in the past couple months has
We had a
been,
great afternoon today.
I did have a great afternoon, but let's, yes.
Is that on here?
But no, I got it. I understand.
Could you guys think about this and let us table it while
nothing we have to do.
Of course.
while we make sure the charter language is
Yeah.
a little awkward?
It appears to read that you can't set or change it within your fixed term of office.
Well, I want to take a post.
Okay.
That sounds good. I
But
think,
now you have a good
Give it
idea
some
of what's
thought.
around the county too.
yeah. Any further discussion before we move on and maybe come back to this at a later date? Oh, okay. All right, G is our special event application for the Chamber of Commerce Christmas Parade. Looks like the application is in order, same as last
We're doing
year.
the same last year, Chief Zoll has already put in the lane closure to MDOT, I noticed in the email for the area today. They need it so many days in advance and things like that. But yeah, they have a new chamber director for the week as well.
Oh, great.
Amy, who's been there for a number of years, is going to obviously help do this transition and do the parade and stuff,
Mhm.
but
Is this the new chamber director's name on the application?
yes,
Okay,
Janine.
yeah.
Jenny?
No, Janine,
Janine Spark?
N-I-N. I didn't know her last name, I just met her the other day, I'm like, oh, where did you go? I didn't know that she'd been hired.
Oh, I didn't see any announcement of it, so I'm glad that the chamber found someone.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
So if you look at the map in the back is basically the same.
Yep. So it's December 6th from 1 to 2.
So all the crew are ready and willing
So, I obviously approve of this event. Neither of them are here tonight, but there was an issue previously that caused a massive issue for my place of business. Because there was no way to get to our place of business, but it wasn't obvious to us because we were outside of the parade route.
yeah.
But the cops would not allow anyone to get
Right.
to the shop outside the parade route.
Where are we talking
They were
about?
coming southbound and they directed them to Marketplace through, Waterstone. Instead of coming down and diverting them on, say, First Street over, like down past West First.
So no one could get to us, which caused a panic because people get extremely panicky when they can't pick up their dogs.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of the
So,
busiest times of the
Now,
year
was
for
that
us.
was a couple years ago, right? I don't think it was last year.
Last year, they allowed an exception, but it was very messy and it wasn't clear to us until the day of.
That's one thing that, maybe I'll talk to
Yeah.
Wall again. Again, it seemed to me that some of the larger trucks that might come and turn westbound on First Street and then come down Pleasant, I think they were a little concerned about the wires and stuff, but there's no overhead wires or water still. So, but still, that's kind of a really winding roundabout way to get out to Westbury. Especially then if you're looking at people southbound, then they got to come back in this way, go down Pontiac. It's really,
I think the businesses on the parade route, it is much more clear to them that is going to happen. I think we should let the businesses know if you can't get beyond the police barricades, but it is not immediately clear to them.
and it's like an hour and a half that for the traffic to stop. Because the parade's
It
like
caused-
45 minutes and they
It
shut it
caused
down.
some issues for
Yes.
the shop on it.
Nothing
Which
like
would- no,
storm
like, I
down
think-
or-
People would understand if they knew in advance.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think knowing the day of was
And
very
minimizing
chaotic.
impact is always
Yes.
our goal too, right?
Exactly. So I don't think, I'm not saying, obviously I'm not fighting the Christmas parade at all. By any means.
All right.
I just, right. I am not being the Grinch. I just think it should be clearly communicated.
Yeah, especially again, if they're, like we're trying to get to McLaren, or they're trying to get to.
And that's the other one, McLaren would be
Mhm.
frankly more important.
People like their
than
dogs,
the dog
but
grooming shop.
I like my
Yes.
cats.
There's a few different
Yeah.
options that are.
mean-
outside that.
I'll make a motion to approve special event application 2513.
Support.
Okay, motion by Ross, seconded by Kemp. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nay? Motion carries. Okay, Item 10H is the annual clerk evaluation, and I will ask our clerk, you do have a right to have your evaluation done in closed session. That is up to you. Would you like to do that or have it in the open meeting?
If you open session, it would be right now.
It'll either be right now, or if we do a closed session, we'll move it to the end. Okay? And then same to our manager.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to move the closed session down after council comments and before the meeting is adjourned, and that is pursuant to MCL 15.268A, which permits us to go into a closed session for personnel evaluation. So we will move on to item 11, which is items removed from the consent agenda, which there are none. And then our second opportunity for public comment. So if anyone would like to address council, please, now is your last time to approach the podium for this meeting. Okay. Seeing no one, we'll close public comment. And then we'll move into our committee reports. The first one is NODA.
So not the best timing to tell you this, but last month I wanted to make the meeting, but I could not. Things were going crazy at our Moyer Street, and I was wrapped up doing that, trying to get messages out to people and all that stuff, and I just couldn't get away from it.
Okay.
Same for other reasons.
Well, I can give you a brief NODA update.
Sure.
We should be acting soon on the new NODA intergovernmental agreement. I gave significant comments to the current format of that, which were adopted by the NODA attorney, and I think have been approved by other communities.
Great.
To me, the NODA agreement always lacked how we got NODA. You know how most enabling governmental agreements say, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is the law, this is how we got the whereas clauses. We were always lacking that. I worked with the NODA lawyer to put those in.
I appreciate that.
If you read it now,
To be desired.
well, what happens is when it's not about us, it's about future people who look back and say, where did we get NODA?
Mm-hmm.
And this will always be laid out now, exactly how and why it was formed,
Very
and
valuable.
under what legal authorities. So it worked out pretty well. I know that Addison took it up at their and approved it at their last meeting, so should be coming to you shortly.
Great, thank you. Next is the Planning Commission, Regina.
The sign for the First Choice Urgent Care at 72 Washington, the redesign, the second round was approved. Well, they were also going to be looking into what is a sign, and and different, whether it be, do we need photostatic sensors, which are a thing, and the sizes and those kind of things. So I think we're going to be addressing that in the next, kind of looking for the rewrite and kind of updating it a little bit, as times have changed. So have, sign composition and size and materials. So I think it's time for, we've kind of it's time to look at that and see if we want to make some changes, just because not almost every, but really the Planning Commission is now just the sign commission. So we'd like to, if we can eliminate the amount of times that people need special use, let's try and do that to kind of streamline it, especially if we're seeing it more and more often. So that's where we're at.
Great, thank you, that's a great update. Cable Commission.
I didn't receive any report from.
Okay. She called me the other day, so sounds good. DDA, Jacob?
We met with Main Street America, the Oakland County rep, prior to our DDA meeting. All went well. We had a lot of good discussion. Also, already mentioned the sidewalk repairs, the sidewalk project, the gazebo project came to a close as well too. There was some trolley discussion. I'll leave that for another meeting. Talked about the brownfield. Upcoming, we have soup and sweet stroll, and then also received some quotes, lighting quotes from Excel Brothers for the Four Corners, as well as the Christmas lights in the park. And then I don't know if we mentioned this, but there's some repainting going on with in powder coating with like the benches and trash cans and stuff. So that's about it.
Great, thank you. Pollyant Trail?
No report.
Okay. And then ZBA had no meeting. Manager, staff, and attorney reports.
I think I tried to encapsulate the street sweeper and I'm not sure if I put, yes, Oxford open-handed our tenants out back there, they talked about that, and I mentioned they went to do a one-off. They were like, we'll do a food drive, they were like, a food drive, people clean and drop food off, and then maybe clean and get it right to their car. And when I asked him about that's why he's one of those fish, he said, yes, well, why don't you try to coordinate with them if they're doing this, say yes. They're not going to try to replace fish or recreate a fish. Maybe making more and more people aware about it. Maybe people find themselves wanting they needed to do this now and where the fish is existed. So I said if you do it, just try to do jumps with and direct people to fish for future stuff as well. I didn't see any problem with them doing that. I mean, they kind of do that now with drop off of the clothes and stuff.
Is that the drive by and get a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup thing too?
He didn't really say. He just said more.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think
Is that
prepared, nothing
something?
prepared.
We're-
I don't think there's anything prepared.
Did anybody else hear about
That's
that? That sounds awesome.
I didn't
So they're
know.
doing a drive through the parking lot to pick up.
This was more of a drive
Tonight?
Staples.
Oh, wow. That'd be nice. Okay.
Again, it's just like because again everything was going on with the snap and stuff like that. Maybe it's like, hey, maybe we'll do this one-off thing. You guys parking lots. Well, and he said the next week or two. So they'll not fine. But I said I don't think anyone has a problem with doing that on one afternoon or evening out here. You're already our tenant out back. And certain people didn't have it. I just suggested they try to recreate fish.
Yeah.
Work with them. Direct people going to fish. I think I'll in my report that evening.
Great, thank you. Vicky?
The auditors are working on everything last week, and everything was synopsis.
Once in a while, you hear requests for information from Mr. Walicki about 57 North. The clerk and I have centralized the file from the litigation that occurred roughly 10 years ago. I brought it in to the village offices, all assembled with tabs. And so if you do receive any discussions, I think, Council President, you have maybe in the past heard from him. Please direct him. We're trying to get him in here to review the file so he can have a recall of what happened with the driveway and with the litigation 15 years ago. The file is now in the village offices.
Great, thank you. Kimberly, is there anything you want to add tonight? Okay, just checking. Thank you. And then we'll do council comments. Regina?
No, just move it along on America 250, Village 150, and starting to gain a little bit of active steam there. So I think we're in good shape. I'm excited.
Great, thank you. Mission?
Just one quick update for all of council, because I didn't let everyone know. Our application for a state historic marker was approved last week, so we'll hear from the state in the next couple of months and go from there.
Excellent, thank you. Jacob?
Thank you to all the veterans for your service, obviously, first and foremost. Also want to congratulate, we had about 30 families in the Oxford area come together for a food drive for Little Friendsgiving. They raised almost 3 tons or 6,000 pounds of food to help the lighthouse, which helps alleviate food hunger and give skills to folks in our area. So it was awesome to see the giving hearts of people around here and know that Little Friendsgiving is primarily led by a lot of 8 to 12-year-olds, and so to see that amount of care coming from that generation is just really cool to see in our Oxford residents. So thank you to all of them.
Wow, that's great.
That was amazing. Okay. So we will now move into a closed session, which requires a roll call vote. And again, this is pursuant to MCL 15.268A. It's for purposes of personnel evaluation. So I will move.
you're going into one closed session, each person should waive the presence of the other person in the closed session,
Okay,
when you get in.
once we, okay.
Yeah, so whoever's going first should waive the, is it all right?
First.
Is it all right if Joe's in the room while you're, okay, just make sure you cover that.
Once I get into closed session?
Yeah.
Okay,
That so-and-so is present in the closed session by consent.
okay, I see,
Right.
thank you. Okay, so I will move to enter closed session at 8:31 PM.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cook, seconded by Ross. Roll call vote? Yes?
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Miller? Yes. Lucia?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, and we will go into closed session.
We're not.